Hello, my name is Toby Cisco, and this is a presentation of the data I collected from my mass research project. As COVID-19 continues to spread, many scientists cannot ascertain a reason for the continued spread, but they have determined the most probable cause to be decreased compliance to COVID-19 related policies and mass usage. While many people have their own reasoning for not following these policies, the not following of these policies has led to a fluctuating pattern of the effectiveness of these policies and mass usage. Locally and globally, many countries around the world are struggling to contain the virus, and while many Asian countries have had experience with implementing these to have an effect on the pandemic, the rest of the globe does not. With location being the overlying factor of these fluctuating patterns, the goal of the experiment was to determine the level of effect location has. By observing mass usage on and off Georgia Tech's campus, the data could be analyzed, and if there was a statistical difference among the data, it could be said that location does in fact have an effect on mass usage. By analyzing data from all ecology lab sections this semester, the hypothesis could be tested. The data was an 11-week observation that was held in the same location, same time, and same day of the week by students. Each observation was 10 minutes long and recorded the proper, improper, and unknown mask wearers, as well as the GPS coordinates, the time, the date, description of location, and notes about the observation. Once all the data was collected, it could be analyzed by hand, but this is very tedious, so RStudio was used because it is capable of running these tests and massive inputs of data. Once the data was collected, it was imported to R within a CVS file, and a subset was made with observations with one or more proper mask wearers. Using parameters that outlined the GPS coordinates of tech, 2 more sub-data sets were made for on and off-campus wearers. The data was then exported into Microsoft Excel and categorized by each week based on the 2 sub-data sets, and an average number of mask wearers for each week was calculated for the 2 sub-data sets. From there, the average values were used to create a vector for on and off-campus observations, and the vectors were plotted on the same graph to compare and see the overall relationship between the 2. To further check for a relationship, a t-test was also done. From the data, there was a statistical difference between mass usage on and off campus, and the t-test provided a t-value of 2.3 and a p-value of 0.029, thus showing that there is a relationship between the 2. Among the observation, the samples of mass usage has statistically different data, and the data rejected the null hypothesis. Figure 1 shows the line graph, which shows the comparison of the average number of mask wearers per week for on and off-campus values, with off-campus being the blue line and the red line being on-campus. The data ranged across multiple locations and had varying values, and the lines seemed to have an almost inverse relationship as one peaks when the other one troughs. From the 11-week observation, we can see that there is a strong relationship between location and mass usage. Among these areas, especially in urban areas, mob mentality or collectivism often decides the mass usage for the general population, as they value the collective opinion over the individual. This often makes people not use policies or not implement policies that they may believe in. A scientific paper did a study in the US, and they even found that 83% of the respondents that said they believe in masks, 24% of those respondents didn't even wear a mask in public. While collectivism is its own problem, education across different areas leads to different problems, as poverty-stricken areas have no education about the implementation of policies or how to use effective measures to combat the pandemic, and are likely receiving false information. Simply by fixing these factors of education and collectivism and just valuing the individual's implementation of policies over the collective, then the effects of location and the beliefs of others will not deter mass usage. Hopefully in the future, this data could be used as an argument point for the reduction in COVID-19 by the implementation of these reasons, or just to help eliminate the spread of COVID-19. I thought that it connected to these 3 UN goals because each one I mentioned within this PowerPoint. If you have a population practicing good health and well-being, you're going to have a less likely of those susceptible. And with that, people who practice good health often practice good medicine and will likely implement the medical policies into their own lives. Quality education also ties into that, as people who are more educated are likely more to use or implement policies into their own lives, such as mass usage. By having a constant infrastructure, we can assure that there is an equal number of education and equal opportunity for good health and well-being across these different areas, thus helping reduce COVID-19. This is my bibliography of my citations of the scientific papers, R, and myself.